Welcome to the Aiki Dojo Podcast. I am David Ito, Chief Instructor of the Aikido Center of Los Angeles. And with me, I have Glenn Yoshida Sensei. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, Yoshida Sensei, I wanted to talk to you about authenticity.
Yes.
Authenticity in Aikido.
Uh-huh.
So there's this idea that in order to make Aikido authentic, the attacks need to be more real. They need to be more contemporary. We got to change the attacks to make them more understandable. But that, I don't know if that really makes something more authentic.
I think you can find falsehood anywhere. You can make anything into a sham very easily.
Yeah.
And the thing about Aikido is we are practicing a basic form that is, what is the word? Archaic. Yeah. And Aikido is based on someone with a blade. And this is not the way we are attacked nowadays. So it's a training method, but it still has to be authentic, has to be correct. You look at any martial art, not anyone, but let's take something like Kendo. Kendo is dealing with two people with swords. And you go, well, okay. And you look at Sojutsu, the spear. Somebody with a spear. Now, when was the last time we encountered somebody with a spear out there, you know?
Yeah.
Or Kyudo, you know, you're shooting a Japanese bow. Come on,
but you know, the thing is, there was this Olympic athlete who was attacked in downtown LA with a large pipe. So it's relevant, right?
Yes, it is. Well, with Aikido, okay, in terms of Aikido, I see a lot of it's trendy.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. It's very faddish.
Yeah, faddish.
A lot of fashion in Aikido. Fashionable.
Yeah, and it's. I was watching something on the YouTube and I said to myself, I felt so sad for the young man who was training in this and learning how to do it wrong, putting all his effort, all his time, all his vigor and sweat into learning something wrong. I thought, that's so sad. You know, to have learned that the world is not flat, you know, or that the sky is not a blanket with holes in it. You know, when suddenly you realize that, and you might be way down the path and age-wise, and you go, darn it, what did I do? I wasted my time. So I thought, it goes back to when you're training, you're trying to find what is real, shall I say, authentic. Something that's archaic is our shomen uchi, but you still have to learn how to do it properly. You have to not have any openings. So the training, like with shomen uchi, is the way I see it is, okay, if I have to do the attack on shomen uchi, okay, that's my agreed upon role in our training. I have to establish proper ma'ai, to make it authentic. I just cannot come up and put my hand so you can throw me. That's providing a service for which I have to charge. Okay, you know, but it's not. It's an agreed upon role in our training, and in a few throws, then it'll be your turn to do the same to me, right? So my role here is to provide for you the best, honest ukemi that I can, which means I just don't go up and whack you because you might poke me in the nose. You have every right to do that. So I have to stand there, take enough ma'ai, and attack at the proper moment. There is a moment when there is an opening, either inadvertently visible, that you had an opening, or you created a false opening for me that sucked me in. And
So
I've had that.
So then there's this feeling of either the uke or the nage. The uke is attacking with an authentic attack,
Yeah.
and then the nage is doing an authentic technique based on whatever attack is being presented.
Yeah. So we are using how shall I put it? A one-to-one encounter, martial encounter, life and death encounter as our training platform. So if you're standing there as the nage, if you're constantly pushing out your kokyu, yeah, and standing there, and this kokyu, I see it as a bubble, yeah, kokyu air is around you. I cannot come in, and I will not attack, because to do so would be like you're gonna get me. So
Have you ever felt that in your training?
yeah, where you go,
With who?
yeah.
Was it with a specific person?
Well, what happened was I was uke for Chiba Sensei at a seminar. He came to Pamplona, and I was having a heck of a time with my timing. I was so scared. That's what it was. And so what he did was he grabbed me and he threw me all the way to the back of the room, several times, and then he says, "Are you ready?" I said, "Hi," and kind of put me back in my the proper mode. And as I recall, okay, I'm the only one you can tell the story. So mid-air, he's telling me there is a proper moment to attack. That
While you're in the air?
Well, I'm taking a fall. He goes, "There's a this is all subjective, right?
Right.
It's also only what I remember. Who knows? You can't tell me it wasn't because you weren't there, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I recall. There is I don't know what he grunted it as he was walking away, but I feel like I was being told this while I was in the air. So there's a moment to attack, and so I believe it was with the empty hand, and what I recall is I felt a kokyu, and then I was projecting also, and suddenly I felt a dent, like there's an opening, like the Red Sea kind of thing opened up. And so I said, "There's the opening," and I came in. And as I did, in the back of my mind, I go, "No, you don't want to do this," And so I struck, and then he wasn't there. He had vanished. And I thought, I know where he is. He's right behind me. And he was. And I learned a couple of things from that. One is what you train, and this was a seminar, and I was not on the mat practicing. I was the uke. So I had a lot of mental, emotional time to recover between my encounters with him. But which is why practice can be emotionally exhausting. Anyway, so he had projected the kokyu, and I believe he made an opening, sucked me in, and enveloped me. That's the subjective image I have. And I was told by some other senpai previously, you have to swallow your uke. You have to swallow the other person, bring him into your kokyu, your ma'ai, and then he's yours. Then you do whatever. And that's kind of metaphorical, but that's what you do. If you have somebody in your ma'ai, you control him, then you can do whatever you want. You can do any technique and control them. And this is what, a properly done technique is. But the authenticity has to be I wasn't just coming up and doing this hand motion at him. I was really trying to hit him. I was trying to hit him in the head. Because that's what you're supposed to do. And you have to have that feeling and that sharp focus that this is all you're going to do, that you must perform this strike and not kind of look around and go, "Oh yeah, now here it comes." But you have to be well balanced, because you're in danger when you're in uke. because by striking, you have committed to that moment, and you have a lot of ski. Yeah, when you strike, you cannot defend. So I see a lot of times when people do katate tori techniques, the uke puts his hand up. I go, that's BS, man. You ain't blocking. That other hand is not blocking because the grab to the wrist is not the attack. The grab to the wrist is a precursor to the punch in the face.
Right.
Yeah, that's not the attack.
But that's the thing people forget. As soon as the first attack stops, the second attack is coming.
Yeah,
and that grabbing someone is not an actual attack; it's an arrest.
yeah,
It's to suppress that hand so that you could do something else, right?
yeah.
But then they could think, oh yeah, people just grabbing your wrist, and that's the oldest joke in Aikido, right? Grab my wrist.
Grab my wrist, yeah. Grab my wrist, punch, yeah. And so, and so from the Nage side, you extend your wrist, he grabs, you punch, yeah. So as you're attacking, you've committed to that. Nage hasn't committed; he's just offered, and so you anyway, you have to be looking for that opening, and that's what you're searching for. This is the authenticity. So I do the appropriate attack at the right space, the right time, yeah, what I can perceive that to be. Nage, because it's basically his training we're working with, yeah, is allowed to create that opening for me and suck me in, and then involve me in irimi and shikaku. Yeah? So that has to be authentic. And the throw he does, he has to get off the line or I'm going to hit him. And I will not apologize if I hit him. If I hit you, yeah, if I get hit, and I've had partners that if I can sneak in and get a hit, I've been told, good strike. Yeah, I said, yeah, let's try it again. This time, get out of the way. Yeah. And that's the way, that's what I mean by authenticity. And it's not like, well, getting back to what I was saying is that so much of Aikido practice now, people are just presenting a platform from which to be thrown.
Right. I'm going to take Ukemi for you. We're not really, I think we were talking about this in the last podcast where you said that you have to give an authentic attack so that they can do an authentic move. Mm-hmm. But today it's not really an authentic attack. All martial arts are contrived.
Yeah.
But this is the opportunity for that, for it not to, it's contrived but not contrived, right? That you're supposed to stand in your kamae, your stance, and you're supposed to be so intent, so focused that there's no opening. And then you allow a ski to open so that person feels like they can attack. And then because you opened it up for them, they attack authentically, meaning with real intent. So maybe the word authentic is maybe a loaded word, but it's with real intent.
Yeah, real intent.
And then you're going to negotiate that real attack, that authentic attack, with whatever is presented, because you don't know if it's a punch, it's a kick, it's a grab, it's a low hit, whatever it is, or weak hit. And then you move in because your intent on the Nage side is authentic as well.
Yeah, so you will do I firmly attack, and then he does a weak entry. Then if you come in too slowly, then I'll turn on you. Yeah, if I have that time.
Yeah,
and that would be as honest a practice, shall I say, as can be. Because if I strike you, let's say again, we go shome uchi irimi nage. That's a good one. Yeah, if you create the opening, I strike, and your irimi was too slow, or you're not quite in shikaku, then
what is shikaku?
Shikaku is that blind spot where I can't do anything, can't see you. The best one is when you just vanish. And it's possible. It's not that impossible, but that just disappear. And that has to do with since we're on that thing, it has to do with, I believe, we've done a couple times at our own practice where you get so worked up and so excited, you're starting to get tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your eyes are taking in 10 frames a second, something like this.
Yeah, because your eyes can only take in 1,000 bits or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, and you can move right between that.
Yeah.
And when I'm striking too, I'm doing this, and I will not see you move.
Yeah.
I will not see you, and you're going to be here, and I'm going to go. Where'd he go?
Yeah, that's where they say like your eyes become so intent.
Yeah.
That when you blink, you don't even know that you're blinking, and the person moves in that blink.
That's the one, and they just vanish, vanish, and that's the disappearing act. So this is what you don't get this in normal daily life talking to people.
No, or doing your job at typing stuff up at work.
Yeah, and so this is a really unique experience, and you can only get this with somebody who's willing to sweat with you on the mat and deal with you here like this, and, and it's a rare, precious moment.
There's a MMA fighter, Anderson Silva, who knocked out I think it was Belfort, Vitor Belfort, kicked him in the face. They're squaring off, and they're just staring at each other, and then Anderson Silva just right up the middle kicks him right in the face, knocks him out.
Wow.
But that's what you're talking about. This moment where the person is so focused and intent that they have to blink to wet their eyes again. And that's that moment you disappear.
Yeah.
And then boom, he got kicked in the face, knocked out cold.
Yeah. And when you start to lose your vision, you're losing down here first.
Yeah.
So he came right in through that blind spot. Yeah. There was a shikaku.
Yeah.
He came right into it. That's beautiful.
And that is a very serendipitous thing that happens very rarely that you can move. But that's the thing you're trying to get in with this training.
Yeah.
The Shikaku.
Yeah. And you can get to it only with a partner who's willing to do that. Yeah.
And tons of repetition.
Tons of repetition. Yes. And when you can repeat that, you go, now we have some kind of training platform here.
Yeah, because there's all these stories of Sensei disappearing and then reappearing over here.
Watch the old videos of him. I think there was an interview with Tamura Sensei, what it was like to take Ukemi from him. And I watched the old videos they have on the rooftop there. You go, why is he attacking and doing Shomen Uchu and O Sensei is no longer there?
Yeah, he's like this.
Yeah, and O Sensei is over here already. Yeah. But he didn't see that.
No.
He didn't see that.
That's what you're talking about is the person is minding that shikaku.
Yeah.
They're minding that timing. But the thing is that they can't mind that timing if you're just...
No.
If you're not fully committed. You have to have that full commitment, that authentic attack.
Yeah. And they're doing that.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I had that with that focus like this in that moment with Chiba Sensei, can you imagine what they had with O Sensei?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but then what brings out that tunnel vision?
Yeah.
Like that fear.
Yeah.
Right? That fear of this authentic altercation between the two of you brings out that fear, and then you have to tunnel vision because that's what we do when we become afraid.
Yeah.
But then that's where that person moves in. But it's not so much a fear like you're afraid he's going to beat you up. It's fear is not the right word, but it's like you're focused so intently because it's serious.
Yeah.
It's authentic. Right.
Yeah.
And so people today think authenticity is like make it real. Oh, well, tackles, boxing jabs, these all things, but like, and you can, that does make it more real, but is that authentic? Because again, strike, grab, punch, kick, block, whatever it is, it's all the same because it has the same authentic intent that the person is supposed to have.
Yeah, exactly. So getting back to this Shomen Uchi, these guys that are just presenting platforms, they're cheating themselves out of a great experience. Yeah,
well, they say that you're cheating yourself. You are one moment farther away from enlightenment.
Yeah.
Because of the inauthentic moment, and it's hard because people, all these things are taken out of context, right? There's snippets of video. We don't see how they came about. We don't see what the person's really all about. We just see what we think is demonstration Aikido, right?
Yeah.
This person is demonstrating their myo, their level of enlightenment, right? And so it's hard for us to understand if they're really truly authentic. But the thing is, it comes off as it creates inauthenticity because now people aren't really stepping in with a strong shomanuchi. You know, they're just going like that.
Yeah.
And then the person's already decided to move in. He already knows he's going to do iriminage, koregaishi, koshinage, or something like that.
And you've prepped yourself to take that ukemi.
Right.
And you know what's going to happen. And this is...
you said something the other day. It was just really interesting. You said that Arikawa Sensei said there is no ukemi.
There's no ukemi. There should be no ukemi.
Yeah.
And I think Daitoju Kondo Sensei says that too. Yeah.
But we take ukemi so that we can continue training.
Yeah. We make it safe. Yeah.
Right.
So I have altered my throwing so you can take a fall. Yeah. I can get the essential part of the waza done, and then I do something so you fall over, so you're not bored. If we stop there, if we were to stop, it's okay, reset, get back.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that very unsatisfying. If I come in as showman and you go, bang, got you, punched you in the rib, okay, go back. But if you do the waza, then I get to expel my energy and take a nice fall and feel good about it, And you get to do a throw. But the throw is really, when you get down to it, it's just gravy. Because if you had a blade in your hand, I'm all done for.
Yeah, if the person punched you, that was actually a knife.
That was,
Because people think that a punch in Aikido is not that nuketsuke thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a punch. It's a thrust that's supposed to be like as if you had a knife.
Yeah. And if I come at you with a knife, you're going to pull your knife.
Yeah,
and do me because you're armed and I'm armed, but I got this.
Yeah.
And I'm dead. So the throw that we do, the kotegaishi or what have you, it's the throw is gravy. To finish off and let us complete an exercise, but
or help you work it out. It helps you work it out.
Help you work it out, and it's you think about it. That's another art. You're throwing somebody.
Yeah,
and it's fun, to take falls and things like that. But that's not the point of the encounter we have. The point of, how should I put it? The point is, since we're talking about authentic, I will come in to strike you properly, correctly, with intent, and you will enter with intent. And at that moment, I'm gone. Yeah, I've had it, I think. And then you do the throw, which is secondary, I suppose you could call it. But the whole purpose of me giving you this attack is not so you can throw me. The point of doing that is for you to deal with this.
Yeah, and in that moment, you live one moment of authenticity.
Yeah.
That you hope you can create more of, and then live an entire life of authenticity.
Yeah. So that first encounter, that's the.
So, but then, why can't we just change the attack to wrestling, to kickboxing, to kicks, to jabs, to boxing? Why don't we just do it like that to make it more authentic and fun?
Authentic, fun. Yeah, we could, but we'd have to figure out a whole bunch of ways to deal with it. I've seen that film of the pro wrestler trying to tackle Tohei Sensei.
Yeah,
and it couldn't get him. Kept putting him down. But that's not what Aikido is. I mean, we're doing an archaic form which deals with this. And we could do that jab thing. We could do it, I guess. I just never thought of it. I don't know how to jab. I can do shomeuchi. But if people want to talk about that kind of thing, or let's say boxing, then let's learn how to punch. To make it authentic. Shomeuchi too. The confusing thing I had was they said, there are no attacks in Aikido. Yeah, so how am I supposed to learn Shomeuchi? How is it that at Hombu Dojo they said there are no attacks in Aikido, but all the senseis could hit me in the head really solidly. I mean, I don't get that. That's the, and the uchideshi would go, utsu, they would hit you. Shibata sensei, Seki sensei, Miyamoto, all of them, they're going to hit you really solidly in the head. Oh, but there are no attacks in Aikido. Okay, come on. Let's be consistent here,
But that's a very Japanese thing to say.
Yeah.
There are no attacks in Aikido. There are no murders in Japan.
Yeah.
Like if you watch Tokyo Vice,
yeah.
there are no murders in Japan. Wait, but somebody got murdered? No, that person died of natural causes. They died of natural causes from blood loss, from being stabbed at 30 times. Yeah, that's natural causes.
Yeah.
And but that's a very Japanese thing to do, to keep statistics a certain way, to keep it. It's like, I don't know if what you call it, theme-based thinking, where there are no murders in Japan.
Yeah.
People die. Oh, I know, but the person died of lead poisoning from the bullet. Yes, from the bullet. But essentially, they didn't die from a murder.
Yeah.
That there are no attacks in Aikido, but this person is hitting you in the head. They're not necessarily attacking you. I mean, they're trying to talking their way around it, right?
Then I came to think there are no systematized attack forms.
Well, but there's no systematized attack forms, because in the old days of Aikido, correct me if I'm wrong, people had to come in with prior martial arts and sword training. So Sensei's not teaching anybody. He didn't teach you irimi. You already kind of knew irimi, because striking offensive-based arts deal primarily in irimi.
Yeah.
And so, they don't need to. Sensei's not teaching you how to properly punch, because you already know how to move in and punch.
Yeah.
So on a certain level, they don't teach that. So it's not that there's no attacks in Aikido. We just don't work on them, because you should already know. So go get a boxing coach to learn how to strike.
Yeah. Well, it's like my experience with Shomen-uchi, we had to teach ourselves how to do it. Watch the people who were ukes, who went up with like the uchideshi. Yeah, watch them. What did they do? And you kind of copy that form, and you figure it out. You can figure out a Shomen-uchi, how to do that based on again, using a sword.
Yeah.
It's real close.
So then, kind of a side question is, how do you learn that ski, that kiryotoshi, those cuttings, if you don't practice sword?
Got to practice sword.
Yeah.
You need to do that. And
does that make it more authentic to practice sword?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, I did iai. I did the kenjutsu.
What kind of iai did you do?
Iai? What kind?
The Jikiden Shinryu?
It's what was it? Muso Shinden.
Oh, Muso Shinden?
Yeah. From
with the with everybody else doing it with the
Mitsuzuka Sensei.
Yeah. Takeshi Mitsuzuka.
And it was good, because we had a foreigners class, and so we all kind of stuck together.
Where do they train at?
We trained at the Yotsuya police station.
Oh.
Yeah. And the police were really, really nice. Oh, here they come again, And we had on Sundays, one of the senpai would come in and he would train. But on the weekdays, and I think weekdays, I guess, we'd have class, and it was just foreigners, Americans, and DDA. Yeah, but it's almost American.
Yeah.
You didn't hear that, did you? Anyway, so that learning how to cut, and that was good, because the iai swords we got had that blood groove.
Yeah.
And
so you hear it?
Yeah, you had to hear it. You had to hear it. That wasn't the goal, but if you didn't swing it right, you wouldn't hear that. Yeah. And that helped a lot. And the balance, when you swing in something that heavy, you better be balanced.
Now they have swing trainers.
Swing trainers?
It's a thing you put on the blade, and it measures if it's done correctly. So you can look at it in a computer. Oh, I am doing it right.
Oh, how good.
Yeah.
How nice.
The luxury of computers.
The digital sword. There you go.
But then when you actually hit someone and you're cutting them in half,
yeah,
no way to simulate that.
No.
No, they had this robot that they programmed to cut wara.
Uh-huh.
and then it went against Isao Mochida, the famous Iaidoist.
Yeah.
He was cutting wada, so I think they cut 100 wada.
Yeah.
And the machine did it faster. But if you look at the machine's cut, where the wada fell, it's all chaotic. But if you look where the Iaido teacher cut, it's all uniform. So the other thing could cut. It was just a robot, indiscriminate.
Yeah.
Just moving the blade here and there, not really worrying about how the water falls. Which is an important part of your training.
I saw that on Mythbusters where they had that machine.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I said, that's not right because it didn't pivot.
Yeah.
The thing just held a sword and did this.
Yeah.
So it's fast, but it didn't have that tip speed.
Right.
Yeah. So the guys who designed the machine didn't quite do it right.
But then you have to. There's no way for you to be a high-level Iaidoist and a mechanical engineer at the same time, right? It's usually one or the other.
One or the other. But that getting back to that sword training, you learn. I think bokken is good, but you got to hold that. Even if it's a mogito, if it has the weight, then you learn how to handle that weight.
It's a completely different game.
Yeah,
doing it with a mogito than it is a bokken. Especially when you do Iaido with one or the other, and you go, "Whoa, this is." And I would imagine if you did it with a real Shinken, you'd be like, "This is totally different."
The mogito is one thing, and that's why in EI, Mitsuzuka Sensei made when you became a sandan, which I didn't get to, you have to use Shinken, and think it's a different game.
Yeah,
it's a different game. You're not cutting anybody. Yeah,
you're not cutting it, but you're trying
not to get cut.
Yeah, not to cut your own hand through or something.
And when you use the mogito, you never touch the blade, never touched you at all. But suddenly with this blade in your hand, you go, "Whoa, it's a little different here. Little level of respect changes."
Yeah. Because this thing does wield life and death.
Yeah. So I did this with at our dojo. We had I have a tanto, and I had one of the children learn how to handle this thing. Very simple, just a shomen cut and tenkan and shomen cut. Not difficult at all, and no danger unless you poked yourself with the tip. But it was not a sharp blade; it was a mogito. But her level of concentration changed. Her posture changed.
And it became more authentic.
And she did a lot better during the open-handed training because she imagined having this. And I reminded her that this is what Aikido is. It's you have a weapon, the other person has a weapon, so you have to be very careful how you enter because you could die. Yeah, that's the thinking you must have.
Well, I guess that's the level. That's what makes it authentic. This the line or the level of what life and death.
Yeah,
that people just changing the attack from shomen to leg grabs doesn't make it more authentic.
No,
and that's the thing that people are mistaking. Like adding boxing attacks or grabbing attacks, tackles or whatever, changing the technique does not what makes it more real, more authentic. It's the intent of the practitioner.
Yeah. And what is the point of Aikido? Dealing with somebody grabbing you? No, it is Shinshin Tanden. Yeah, it's the austere training of your mind and body. This is what Aikido is. Yeah, and we use this form, but we have to have, again, going back to authenticity, this to get the benefit of the training. We have to think of it as life and death, and this trains our body, it trains our mind, and I believe betters us as people if we have this level of focus and concentration.
But then if you think about how does a person get that when they can't understand the attack? They can't understand shomenuchi. They can't understand yokomuchi. They can't understand ski.
Yeah.
Because they're looking at it from a Westerner's point of view. Oh, a boxer does it like this. right?
Yeah.
They don't go like this. They go like this. They have no one, whatever. A hook is more like that.
Yeah.
People today are more BJJ is more fashionable, so I'm going to tackle you.
Yeah.
But so how does a Western person understand this attacks? They need a different attack to make it more authentic, is I think what people are thinking.
That's a good question.
Because to extrapolate Irimi versus Shomanuchi or Irimi versus a jab or a straight punch is the same.
Yeah.
But then your mind thinks it's different. Like, I don't know, in your class, when you bring out the tantos or the fake guns, people lose their minds. We do the same technique. We do like, kotegaishi. And then we bring out the tantos and they just lose their minds. They go, no, we were just doing the same thing a second ago without the tanto. But once they see that tanto, they lose their mind.
Yeah. Well, we're told, you have to train like this knife is a metal knife. Yeah. Yeah. Well, your imagination only goes so far, If you actually put a wood, even a butter knife in somebody's hand, it's a little different.
But haven't you ever noticed that they can no longer move crisply and smoothly?
Yeah.
Just because it's a tanto, just because you think, what's the difference? But it's their mind that's the difference, right? Because the thing is that perhaps when they were doing ski kotegaishi, they weren't really doing it authentically. And then now that the tanto's out, it becomes authentic. It becomes quote unquote real. Yeah. And then now you have trouble moving in because you weren't moving in authentically to begin with.
I think that let's say we're practicing ski. Yeah, and nobody's imagining. They're not making.
I am.
Yeah.
I imagine. That's all I ever think about.
There's a blade over there. Yeah. Huh? Well, if they're practicing in earnest, they will be imagining the projecting that this is a bladed weapon coming at them. But if their focus is not there, and they're kind of talking about what are we going to do after practice, who's going to pay for the beer, then of course you're not going to get much. You're going to be seeing somebody doing something like a kotegaishi or something like a technique, but it's not serious. It's not authentic.
Yeah, but it's just authenticity is just in your mind then.
They say, and I've never trained with a real blade, that if you train like it's a real blade when you don't have one, and when the real blade comes, you figure it's not a real blade. I go, I don't know, man. I've not reached that point. Yeah. So, but the authenticity is we're training, but we do not want to really put our lives in danger. Yeah. Or maim ourselves. So, as far as our training can go, the level that we can take our training is, I can use a mogito. Yeah, I will not let people mess with a real blade. I mean, that's.
But then, if you do that, it won't be authentic.
So only so far we can go in training, because this is only training.
Right. So then, authenticity, as you said before, is really just a product of your mind.
Yeah,
an authentic attack.
Yeah, authentic attack.
Intent.
The intent is authentic.
Yeah.
And it's not reality. It's just authentic. Because if it were reality, it would be in shreds and in the emergency room.
Yeah, as you got to mastery, you got all these belly wounds from getting stabbed with a knife.
You know that one, huh?
Yeah.
That's the Aikido's almost master ordering 5 beers.
Yeah, 5 beers, please. Yeah. Actually, the Aikido person, 5 beers, please. Yeah. You're holding up 5 fingers, but 2 of them were cut off.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's like that. We joke about it, but that happens, right? Mm-hmm. But why did the person cut themselves?
Yeah.
Because I know one person who's self-taught in Aikido that was, self-taught in Iaido and practicing Iaido. And when he did this cut, going backwards, he cut his own shoulder and had to get stitches. But, he's not even Shodan in Iaido and he's using a Shinken. So we laugh about, people doing these things and he needs to make it authentic. but you have to be ready to make something authentic.
Yeah. He's not ready for that.
Yeah,
Not at that point.
You can't be attacking the person on their first day, beating them up. That was authentic.
Yeah, that was authentic.
How did you taste this authenticity? No.
Yeah.
They got to build up to that. But the whole time you're trying to train your mind to make it authentic, right? And that's the thing you were saying. Like, you train as if this is a real knife. And then when they have the real knife, you pretend as if it's not a real knife.
Pretend it's
so that your mind doesn't get all crazy. But really, it just comes back to the authentic mindset, right? Authentic. But I mean, I guess you could look at authenticity from the standpoint of, I trained with Second Doshu. I trained with O-Sensei. I trained with Jim Johnson or whatever it is. There's, I guess, the level of authenticity there. But there's some of the most famous mathematicians are self-taught, and that you can still be self-taught and be authentic, because authentic is just a mindset. But if my calligraphy teacher said the main shortcut in training is to have a teacher. And I was like, oh yeah, that's true. Because if you were just going to do calligraphy, you're just going you're just moving your arm around until you either get the quality of movement gets better, or someone comes by and goes, oh, you got to keep your elbow down.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's a mindset where if you were authentic in your training, you would be receptive to criticism. Someone says, oh, your foot has to be like this. Yeah. You go, oh, really? Okay. But instead, we hide behind what we call authentic and real. And so we don't have to change things. We never lose our position or our status.
And that comes to our ego, doesn't it? No?
Yeah. So I guess authenticity is really about your mind and your ego.
Mind your ego. And if you're trying to be authentic and, this kind of training, you will see your errors and your partner will point them out to you. And you try not to do the same mistake twice.
You want to hear a funny authenticity story? Is that we're here, Yoshida Sensei and I are here in Delaware attending Zenko Okimura Shihan's celebration of life. The first time I met Okimura Sensei was in Hawaii at Doshu's, the 50th anniversary of O-Sensei coming to.
Oh yeah, was that it? First time you met him?
The first time I ever met him. And he walks in with this large retinue of students. And I was like, who's this guy? Right? I didn't know who he was. I'm like, who's this dude, right? And he's got this, and they're all really well trained. That's the interesting thing about Okimura Shihan's students. They're all very well trained, white belts and black belts. And I'm like, who's this guy? And then a couple years later, he's at a seminar, one of your seminars, and I see him out of the corner of my eye taking the softest ukemi. And I'm like, dude, this guy's, got to be in his 70s or something. I got to try it out. This got to be fake. There's no way. So we did reverse irimi nage. And I tried to blast him through the floor and he just falls down like a feather. I was like, no way, man. There's no way. And then I was watching him, throughout the class. And then for kokidosa, I got to try kokidosa. And then it was super soft and powerful. And then you think, wow, man, this is what you want a person to be like at that age. You don't want to be beating people up. He was, in a certain sense, his movement was very authentic. It wasn't contrived. It wasn't fake. And I was really trying to resist him.
Yeah.
So that's how I came to meet Okimura Shihan.
Wow. What a good introduction, huh?
So, but I mean, that's the thing where I think every person is searching for authenticity in every aspect of their life. How can I be and you think, oh, I should divorce my wife and date this other person. That makes me more authentic. Not really, right? What makes you more authentic is by acting with intent, the proper intent, right? If you're going to attack someone, you attack them with the strongest attack you can give them. And then if you're going to throw someone, you want to be authentic in your own movement.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
Yeah. Well, this encounter that you have, you want to offer as much as you can to your uke, to the nage, right?
Yeah.
To have as much he's going to spend the same amount of time throwing you right or wrong. Yeah. So this is where they say you project and you offer to them the kokyu, and they will deal with it and throw you. And that's when you attack, you give of yourself, right? And if you hold back, then it's not a full practice. It's not authentic exchange. And here's the other person who's trying to do it right, trying to deal with it, and you're only giving them
You're just wasting their time.
Yeah, wasting it. Yeah. And by your not being authentic in this thing, not being real in your attack, not being sincere, that might be the better word, both of you lose out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's a beginner and they're trying their best and they're not getting it, that's all right. That just means technical proficiency isn't there. But the amount of training that they're getting is full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best to their ability.
Best to their ability, yeah. And so you must manage. So authentic doesn't mean like I crack you in the head. If I'm working with somebody who's, let's say a yonkyu, yeah, somebody who kind of knows,
Yeah.
I will not blast them with super speed. Of course not. That would be wasting my time and theirs. But if I come in slowly, but with full intent, full focus, full balance, but slowly, yeah, and not trying to cheap shot them, then this is proper ukemi. And if they move right semi properly, then I will follow that movement. If they're doing irimi nage, if they make an attempt at kuzushi, then I will go with that, yeah. And if not, then I'll coach them through it. But then they can do their level best to get a proper technique down. And I have done my level best to give, albeit half-powered, yeah, but not namby-pamby. It's full-on intent, but the power is turned down, ukemi. Then I think that it becomes a very good practice. And they'll learn something from it. Yeah, and I will learn something from it. Because... if you and I train and I just say, here we go, here it comes, and I find it open again, bang, and I say, well, Ito Sensei, you better deal with this because, heck, man, you're dojo cho, and here we go, come on, dojo cho, and if it were one of somebody, like I said, a yonkyu, they go, here we go, very gently, don't be afraid, deal with it, and coaching people through, I think that's to me, that becomes authentic. It's not like, here you go, beginner, Not doing that.
That's not an authentic intent either.
Yeah, but if it's like, you don't get out of the way, this is going to come down on your head, move, get out of the, and you coach them through, that's authentic because this is...
So, but I mean, how does a person today with limited Japanese culture experience, limited martial experience, train authentically?
I think because this is Aikido maybe nowadays is too widespread and people who are not qualified to teach are teaching it, that they're spreading the wrong or disseminating incorrect training, shall I say? I'll use the word incorrect or insufficient.
So do you think that what level should a person actually teach? What level should a person be? Like I met that person the other day who was 2nd degree black belt and said, oh yeah, I'm Dojo Cho. And I'm like, Dojo Cho is a fifth degree black belt title that you have to be 5th and above. You can't just, you and I start a dojo and you be chief instructor, I'll be Dojo Cho.
Yeah.
Now we call that, you're the manager, but what level, if you're going to instruct people in the way, you're 60 some odd years, I'm 30 some odd years in Aikido training. I am just getting to the level where, yes, I can lead a dojo. The last 10 years was just a build up to this moment. And just now I'm just barely starting to lead my dojo 15 years in. And so if you just started Aikido and you're not even a black belt, there's all these people that have dojos, they're not even black belts. I know of one person who said, I'm a self-anointed black belt.
Self-anointed? Use
Yeah.
the word anointed?
Yeah.
Well.
And I went, oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
But in my mind, like, how the heck are you going to teach people?
Yeah. Yeah.
All the trials and tribulations of training help culminate in this opportunity to lead people. And then all these trials and tribulations of leading people enable you to become a teacher.
Isn't that sad?
So
what? So when can the question is when can you?
Yeah. When should you?
When should you?
Other than situationally, hey, the teacher just died. I'm showing on. Well, I guess I got to be the teacher now.
Yeah. Well, that's happened. That happens. If you have the situation where you can choose when to lead a dojo, I think instruct people. You have to have some semblance of some body of knowledge. And if you don't have that body of knowledge, how can you disseminate information? Because a lot of this is information, yeah, and a lot of it is skill training, and of course, as we go along, our instructional technique gets better, our own ukemi, our own waza gets better. But you have to be proficient first of all, technically, yeah, and then things like Aikido history and martial history and all of these things you can learn from books, but the actual physical capabilities, you gotta be. You got to have spent time on the mat. And if you haven't, then you have no business spreading falsehoods. And the people who trust you to, they're going to invest their time and money coming to you. And if you're a sham, you're a thief. You're just taking their time and money. And that's unforgivable.
But people don't think about it like that.
No.
They don't even look to see what your qualifications are as a teacher. They don't, like you said that when you were talking in the last podcast, they said, who's this doshu person?
Yeah.
What is doshu? Who's doshu?
Yeah, they didn't know. But in that case, they just little information and it's fixed.
But if they don't know Kodagaishi or Tenkan.
Oh, if a teacher doesn't know that, then they've got no business out there,
There's all these crazy falsehoods running around about Tenkan and how these techniques are done and what are these, like the other day a student said, I said, oh, you're a bit on the short side and then your uke is taller. Mm-hmm. Tenkan is in the way you're doing it, Tenkan is more for a taller person, mm-hmm. As you come across over the top. He said, I thought that. I go, isn't it obvious? Mm-hmm. A taller person would have an easier time because they already have height on you. Yeah. But not that that's the only way to do it. Mm-hmm. I said, just based on the way you're doing it, mm-hmm. You can't get over the top because he's a foot taller than you. But like that's the same thing as like to teach people authentically, right? So you have authentic intent in the movement as a uke or nage, mm-hmm. but now you have the authenticity or authentic as you teach people. Mm-hmm. So if I teach you something, I should only teach within the bounds of my ability and knowledge. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know, you don't know. If you're going to really try to teach things, like I taught public school English, and there were a lot of things that I did not know. And I told them, well, kids, tell you what, I'll go check with Mr. So-and-so because he knows better than I do. I'll let you know tomorrow. Okay, come back. And if it was something like that, if it was a grammar point or a literature point, that's it. I'm not sure. But in Aikido, it's different because
they're going to have to go out in the parking lot and use it as they're being mugged or killed, right? Yeah. And then you can't, this hand goes like this and you just make it up that day.
Well, that kind of stuff, you better know it before you open that dojo door, how to do it and how to teach people how to do it.
But you could still do it. See, it's like you can only teach steps 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. Then you must just teach steps 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. But what happens, as someone once told me, it's about market share. So we should let these people teach Iaido because of market share. We should let this person teach Aikido because of market share. And you think, yeah, you could do that because it's a business, mm-hmm. but a dojo is not a business. You were instructing people on the way, and you were instructing people in a martial way. They might have to use it when the time comes. And then they can't because you were riffing at that moment and scrambling for your life. So when you taught them Koshinage, you just taught them any old way. And then they went to do it on a guy who was mugging them and got killed. Mm-hmm. But then usually you never even find out what happened. They go, oh, he got mugged. But then he was using your lame Koshinage that you taught him because you don't have any ability. Yeah. Right. So there's got to be an authenticity in teaching.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you cannot stop people from going out there and
it's a free country. Yeah. This is America, and it's a free country. But in the martial way, there was no, like the old days. Someone would come by, beat you up, and break your kaban, break your sign in half, and you were done. And then if they beat you, they could take all your students. Yeah. You think, but they don't have that today. You go, well, we're calling the cops.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But if someone did dojo yabure, dojo storming, showed up, you'd have to know your stuff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like there was a story that Kanai Sensei was mad at the student who opened a dojo in L.A. Mm-hmm. And Furu Sensei took him there, and the Kanai Sensei tore his rank certificate in half. And you go, oh man, it's rough. Yeah. That's the thing. In the old days, it was rougher stuff. You had to be more authentic. You had to be more genuine because there was a possibility somebody would come by and try you on. I mean, it doesn't happen anymore. You just, I'm calling the cops.
Yeah. So I think nowadays it comes back to that let the buyer beware sort of thing. I think if people are more aware of what they're going to be getting into, that's the only defense we have. It's like
there should be more.
Should be more of it. Yeah. So I guess in this case, I see a lot of it on social media.
Oh yeah, there's like there's a high-ranking Aikido teacher whose son-in-law totally like bashed one of my videos. Oh, he's not even an Aikidoist, and I wanted to just like call the Aikido teacher. But what do you your son-in-law just did this, right? But then, that's today. You can't do anything. Mm. If Furu Sensei was alive, he would have went down to that guy's house, and then, but he would have called that teacher and ripped that T-shirt a new one. Yeah. How dare someone related to you say those things about Aikido? But today you can't do anything. No. And then the person watches 1 second, 10 seconds of your video, and then they go, "This totally looks fake. Everybody's wearing a dress," not really understanding like all the nuances and all these things. So like. That's the hard part with the internet. It's creating this inauthenticity in Aikido because people are demonstrating things which aren't basic Kihon Waza. So then they're misunderstood, or they're doing whatever they want, which is misunderstood. And then there's that lack of authenticity there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the nature of social media. Yeah, it whatever, anything goes, huh? And that's the scary part. So the buyer, the potential student, is really left in, what shall I say, left to decide for themselves. And how are you going to decide looking at a video? And even going to a dojo, if you see people just falling down, then you better know what you're looking for. Yeah, it's how do you know? How does the beginner know?
Well, how does the novice know? They don't know. Yeah. And that's why whoever is teaching, whoever's doing must be authentic. Mm-hmm. Because the person on the outside doesn't know. Yeah. So everything must be authentic. From the intent on the Nage side, the intent on the Uke side, and the intent in the teaching. That's the only way people are going to find authenticity. Yeah. So I think that's a good place to stop.
I think so. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching and listening.